Hi, this is Jack at Jack's Transmissions, and today we're going to talk about your SST DCT470 EVO MR Mitsubishi Ralliart valve body. Now, a lot of people out there don't rebuild the valve bodies like we do, so I'm doing a video to show you what you're really getting out of our valve body rebuild here because it's pretty amazing. So in the valve body, you have a few different areas here. You have this top section here, which is the Mechatronic. It's the TCM and the unit that has all the sensors in the valve body, from fork position sensors, pressure sensors, temperature sensor, all of that stuff is in the Mechatronic. They have a failure rate. Lower section here, right here in the middle, you have the solenoids. All the solenoid valves are in this section. And then this section at the very bottom is where you have the valves inside casing itself. So with the Mechatronic, when we do a valve body rebuild here, we're doing the whole thing. We're not just doing the lower valve body section or adding some caps to it, a gasket kit on it. We're actually rebuilding the whole darn thing from the mechatronics to the mechanical part of the valve body. With the Mechatronic, there's several things that could go wrong. You can have a broken connector. We can fix that now. You can have a pressure sensor problem. Plausibility. It could fail plausibility on the teach-in. Sometimes that's the Mechatronic in the valve body. You can have pressure sensor codes. That's a bad pressure sensor in the Mechatronic valve body. We can rebuild and fix these here. You can see we get a lot of this stuff. These are just Mechatronics that we got to rebuild. So Mechatronic is part of our valve body rebuild. In the past, if you had a Mechatronic problem, even with any of our competitors, you have to buy a whole new valve body or another core transmission that has a good Mechatronic. A brand new valve body from Mitsubishi right now is $3,000. So you look at our rebuild of the whole assembly versus $3,000 for a new one. A rebuilt unit is going to have some updates done to it that an OEM will never have. Our rebuilds are always better. So now we look at the upper section of the mechanical part of the valve body. Solenoid valves. We designed our own machine here to run these valves under different cycles to assure that they're opening and closing properly and fully. Material gets in these, that develops in the oil, and it's attracted to these solenoids because they create a magnetic field. Well, how much is in there? Is the solenoid considered bad? Is it weak because of that material? We know that with the tests that we run here. We clean them, we perform tests, we assure that everything is working perfectly. Solenoids, easy. The lower section of this valve body, which is this here, has different bores in here with valves. The main one, which is a line pressure, has a cap that blows out. Everybody replaces this cap with a billet cap. That's common knowledge. But if the cap is blowing out, there's a reason for that. The cap doesn't just blow out on its own because it feels like it. It blows out because there's a pressure regulation issue with this part of the case. And the way to fix that properly, instead of just putting a cap in there and shimming it and calling it good, is you have to bore and hone this casing and install an oversized valve. We do that with all of our valve body builds here. So it looks like this. We have another special piece of equipment we specifically designed here just for this purpose, to bore and hone this valve body and do it accurately, perfectly straight, perfectly clean, the right amount of lubrication every single time to assure a high quality product. And we also hone them because you can't just go by cutting it and that's it. You have to hone it and it has to be absolutely precise. And then we install these oversized, anodized OEM style valves back in here. So you have a nice smooth surface, it's clean, the valve is going to work properly, and after all of that is said and done, and the unit is complete and assembled, we install it in our short-term tester Ralliart, which is our blue Ralliart. This is our long-term tester. Our short-term test Ralliart, we'll put this in here. I'll have like an updated version of my tune that'll tax the line pressure valve in this valve body. And it'll run it through a series of tests to make sure that the pressure regulation is consistent and accurately spot on target where it's supposed to be. So that Mechatronic, same thing. I'll run the trans up to blazing high temps, around 240 to 260 F, to make sure that there's nothing wrong with the Mechatronic as well. The Mechatronic For most issues involving a Mechatronic, it becomes thermally sensitive, and it won't start to get aggravated until you exceed 200F. Get around 250, 260, if there's anything wrong with it, it's definitely going to pop up. So there you go. Thorough rebuild, entire valve body, thorough inspection, parts that we've made here in-house, equipment we've made here in-house, and testing that we do in a car to assure the most thorough rebuild you're going to find. Only at Jack's Transmissions. We hope we've earned your trust and support. We'd very greatly appreciate your business. Thanks for watching. All right, so rebuilt Mechatronic in our car. This is our temp gauge. It's in our Franken mission where we test things like this. We're at 240F right now. I'm going to get it up to 260 before I complete my testing. But yeah, I have to get it blazing hot like this because Mechatronics become thermally sensitive when they begin to have an issue. So it's very important to really not only run it through its paces in our test vehicle, but to get it up to temperature as well. I want to get it hotter than it's going to be in your vehicle to make sure we don't have any issues and that the unit functions as it should. It has been absolutely flawless. This Mechatronic is just passing all checks. It passed plausibility during the teach-in process along with all the teach-in for this particular trans. And yeah, it's been excellent. So there you go. So the process of rebuilding your Mechatronic, we go above and beyond in that as well, where we put it in our own car, in our own transmission, make sure that it is absolutely perfect and programmed for your application before we ship it.